Hey there, Andrew, C1D Paintball. So, you want to make paintball videos? Little things you should know. When you get a protective case for your camera, so this little guy, see there's nothing in it? Not the camera, not a fancy GoPro and some of the other brands that are waterproof so people think that, well, these can take shots. No, you need a protective case like that one to protect your camera. Unless you just like spending money, that's up to you. Now, here's the thing. They usually come with two backs to it. So when I'm talking about the back, I'm talking about this little hingey thing here. Snaps on the back, keeps your, it closes it up. It helps seal it. There are two different doors that come with it. There's one here and you can see it's solid. There's no slots or anything. Comes with a gasket on it too. Now, the thing is this, is you put this on your camera, it prevents, because there's no holes or anything. There's another one that has two little slots in it. See these here? I'm going to explain what those are for in a second. The reason why you get these and they send these is if you usually for an action camera, if you're taking out in the rain, if you're going snorkeling, so you want it totally keep the water out. So obviously this is good for that. I'm going to explain how that works in paintball in a second here. Obviously if you're going snorkeling, you're not going to take the one that has open slots to it because water gets in. Defeats the purpose, right? For paintball, here's the thing. You can use either one. So I tend to use the solid ones more under most regular circumstances. If it's not too hot, if it's not like stinking hot out, I'll use it. And it also has to do with the sound. Now I do put music overlays over basically all my videos. And I'll explain how the sound is affected by both. I get, first of all, any action camera with a case on it doesn't pick up too much. Picks up enough. I find some people really complain about it, like, oh, I can't hear anything from my action camera, but it's got a case on it. People complain about the sound from an action camera without the case, but for paintball, I find you can still hear stuff. So this protects it from water going in, the solid one. You don't have to worry. I mean, even though like the back of it where this is like on your camera, it's like here, it's not directly in front, you still get splash everywhere. So you got to watch out. So this is fine. It protects it. The sound is, I think the sound's all right with this. But the one bad thing about it, completely protects your camera. The one bad thing about it though is on a hot day, your camera gets warm. Your camera tends to be on top of your head. If you're playing outside, the sun's going to hit it. And sometimes on the front of the camera, on the actual, you see the circle there, right here, where your lens is, if it gets really warm in there, you can get some fog and condensation in there, just from the heat. Different ways to avoid that. When you're changing the battery and such, you wipe it down. Another way to get around that is by using the one with the slots. It allows the camera, it still heats up, but it allows it to breathe a little bit. So that's nice, and that's my primary function for this, are days that I know are going to be pretty hot. And if you're playing long games, you might want to put that on, because if you're playing short 8-minute games that you're going to switch up, like what I regularly play at Warzone, this is fine because you can wipe it down, but maybe I just don't want to worry. I put it with the slots. Here's the thing though about the slots that you have to remember. First of all, it does allow moisture in there. So if you're playing paintball and it's, I know some people play in any kind of weather, and there are times of the year I will play in any kind of weather, but if it's pouring enough that these two little slots will get enough water in there, well, then you use the solid one. But again, it breathes well with this. If you can go out and use this, that's fine. But the only bad thing about it, besides that there's no total protection, like I said, if you get a little splash in there, chances are, I mean, it's just the back of the camera, it's not the lens, so splash isn't going to hurt it too much. But if you have like somebody hit you in the back of the head, a team kill could really mess your camera up. But the main thing that's not great about this is, I'm going to go back to the sound. The sound on this one isn't perfect because obviously it's closed in and that. But when you have the one with the slots, the sound kind of reverberates and there's a slight echo on it. So if you're really like nuts, crazy, fanatical about your sound, when you're using the one with the slots and it's a really hot day, there's going to be a little bit of, it sounds a little bit echoey, more echoey, and a little bit of reverb on the sounds coming out of it. I don't think it's horrible. Maybe you have a video editor that has a robust audio editor that can kind of tone it down a bit. It's not horrible. I notice it a little bit. I don't mind when I do it. You might even notice now, if you remember this when you watch some of our videos, why it might sound a little more like with the reverb and that, especially if like Connor and I are both using our helmets. I've got a solid, he's got the slot, and you might wonder, I wonder why Connor's sounds that way compared to Andrew's. That's why. So they both do well, and they both have their situations to use them in. I say go out there and just do it. If you're talking about what's best for your camera to protect it, is the solid one. Protect it from getting splash and that. If you're talking about for the overheating and I guess lower maintenance of it, so you don't need to worry about the fog building up as much, you use the slotted ones. I'll let you know right now that outside the peak hot seasons of the year, like in June and first half of July, I will tend to either use the slotted ones or if well, I go 50-50 on it. It's the only time of year I consider using the slotted ones. I do prefer the solid ones compared to the slotted, as long as I take it out and I wipe it down regularly. It just depends, but otherwise year-round I really prefer to use the solid ones, although both tend to work. Again, the sound can be a little bit reverby, a little echoey, a little twangy, pingy, whatever you want to call it. With the slots, it's not horrible. The best thing to do is try both out when you get an action camera in a case like that. See what works well for you. I can work with either one because I do talk over the videos, because I do have music over them. Not a massive difference, but I think something you just need to know. It's like, well, why do I have this? Some people can actually even take these slots and where they have a strap for their camera, so you like a chest mount or a head mount, they can actually strap it through there and keep it against you. But I've seen somebody do that. I don't think that's what it's really intended for. But I mean, do what you want, but either way you can use them. Try them out, see what works for you. And the more different things you try, the more options you know are out there, the more you can tweak and do different things with your videos. So I hope that helped. If you have any comments, if I'm wrong about something, do let me know. I tend to be wrong sometimes. As my wife reminds me. My son likes to remind me. He's a good boy. He corrects me politely. My wife not as much, but you know, it's just my wife. Yeah. Have a good one. There'll be more.